Is it James or Jimmy?
I'm not too bothered. It's just my mum that she wants me to be called James.
He comes again and bowls him! James Anderson has got his first wicket. At a moment, James Anderson, if he gets 400 Test wickets, will never forget.
Up he comes again. Red streak in his hair. He bowls and he's bowled Gibbs. That one came cutting back. James Anderson has a smile on his face.
Anderson, I think, is a huge find for England. He's got some really good pace.
He's got very good ability. I'm sure if he continues to develop as a bowler, he's going to be an outstanding bowler for England.
In comes Anderson and he bowls him, leg stump, he bowled him round his legs.
In comes Anderson to bowl, pitching up, and he drives again and he's nicked and he's out. Well bowled by Anderson.
Darts like Aggers, he's caught that first slip by Cook. Anderson's done it again.
He's going to waltz past my record. He is a master at what he does, and I admire and love watching him bowl.
Anderson bowls round its edge and he's caught. He's caught by Cook. And there you have it, finally. He is England's highest ever wicket taker in Test cricket.
Got to edge the court, and James Anderson has his 400th Test wicket. And the West Stand and all around rises to England's most successful Test bowler ever.
I think Anderson, with the Duke ball in hand, I would see him getting at least up to 500, if not to 600 if he can stay fit.
Anderson bowls to Bradford. Bowling! That's number 500 for Jimmy Anderson.
Anderson bowls to Shami, and Shami's ball, there it is, he's done it. He's knocked out his middle stump. Anderson is a record breaker.
I feel very lucky and blessed that I've been born in the same sort of era as Jimmy, and we're different style of bowlers but complement each other really nicely.
Oh! Edged it, he's caught at slip, and Jimmy Anderson becomes the first fast bowler in the history of the game to take 600 wickets.
Just an incredible athlete, an incredible bowler, and yeah, I think the best cricketer England has ever produced.
Looking forward to it. Got a lot of family and friends coming down for it as well. So I'm hoping that they do the emotional side of it, and I can just get on with playing cricket and enjoying it one last time.
Which is what you've always done, basically, isn't it? That's kind of been your mantra.
Yeah, I think that, that's why why I've done what I have for such a long period of time, because I've been able to focus on my job and doing it to the best of my ability, and never settling for being as good as I might have got, just always trying to improve. And even the last few weeks, knowing that these two games could well be my last in first class cricket, let alone Test cricket, I've still wanted to train hard, practice well, and make sure I'm giving a good account of myself.
I don't know how you're going to beat your mate Stuart Broad. I mean, in his last ball for 6, he took a wicket with the last ball he bowled. I mean, have you got any thoughts on beating that?
No, I'm not even going to try. I don't think it's pointless me trying that.
Yeah.
I've hit a limited number of 6s in my career, so I don't think that's
all memorable, though.
Well, I don't know if that's on the cards, but I'd love to just contribute in some way, even a catch or something, just to contribute. I obviously we want to win the game. Start the Test summer well. It feels like a long summer so far without any Test cricket. So yeah, I would love to start the summer with a win, and obviously finish my career with a win as well.
Did you need the tap on the shoulder? I mean, would you have carried on? Do you have plans to carry on for this summer?
Yeah, well, I felt after India, I feel physically as in good a shape as I ever have. Felt like I bowled pretty well in India. So coming home from that in my head, I was just looking ahead to the summer and trying to plot my way through the summer with what county games I need to play, etc., and just work that out. Obviously didn't look much further than this summer. But then obviously the tap on the shoulder came, so obviously a lot of people have always told me that you'd know when the time's right, like Stuart, Alistair Cook, people close to me that have retired have always sort of known when the right time to go is. I don't know if that would ever come for me. I don't know, it could have been one of those things where I did need a tap on the shoulder to say we want to go in a different direction. So something I've got to accept, and I have done in the last couple of months. And now I feel excited for this week, and I feel excited for the future as well, what that might hold.
And it's nice to have a finale, isn't it, rather than, I don't know, going in the hamstring and not be able to come back and a career sort of fizzling out. You've got a perfect stage here. It's where it all began for you.
Yeah, I feel it feels a privilege to be able to play one last time in England. You know, I think I'd have been sort of disappointed if I hadn't have got that opportunity, especially after having a pretty poor Ashes last summer. But as I said, I enjoyed my time in India this winter. So yes, it feels nice to get one more go.
Yeah. I mentioned the start, striping your red hair and all that you weren't going to, but it's interesting, after that first year, and I remember watching games of cricket, test matches going on, cones, hundreds of cones would be set up all over the outfield, so it was like the M25, and you'd appear during lunch breaks and bowling away. You played 7 tests in 2003, but then only 13 of the next 57. What was going on there? They were trying to amend your action. It must have been incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, it was a tough time. I think I remember 2004, the summer of 2004, and I was so worried about losing my spot. I played actually not fully fit for a while. You know, as a 21-year-old, I didn't really understand my body that well at that point. Didn't really know what was a niggle and what was a proper injury, so I did play through a little bit of injury, then eventually lost my place, and then tried to change my action, and that just didn't work for me. It didn't. You know, I remember a tour of South Africa where I came in for 1 game out of 5. I think it was the 4th test.
Johannesburg, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was as close to having the yips as I've ever felt. The ball just wasn't going anywhere near where I wanted it to. Didn't feel comfortable in my action.
We hadn't played for ages.
Yeah, I hadn't played for a while. And also I didn't have the control that I then developed. I didn't, you know, when it didn't swing, I had no go-to plan. It was literally, if it didn't swing, I felt like I was a bowling machine for batters. And that's what that week felt like. So, but then, yeah, after that, the remodelling of the action, and then the blessing in disguise was getting a stress fracture in, I think it was 2006 in India. We had a 7-match one-day series. Came home from that and had a scan, and it was a stress fracture. So I missed most of that summer. But when I started bowling again, that's when I went back to my old action, thanks to Mike Watkinson and Kevin Shine, were the 2 coaches who helped me do that. And then things gradually started. It definitely didn't just click into being a good bowler. It took a lot of time to develop confidence and skills to perform at that level. It was probably only 2008 where I started settling into the team.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk to you about, because I absolutely relate to the no swing. You're naked. Yeah, what do you do? But I never did develop a plan B, so that's why I love watching you bowl. What you have done and how you've developed swing seam bowling to what it is now, and making it relevant throughout the game. I think that's what you've really changed about bowling, as far as I can see. Because if it doesn't swing or doesn't swing conventionally, you've got other things to do, and you've developed all of that. So how did you sort of come to think about that? How did you actually teach yourself wobble seams and all the stuff that you've brought to it now?
Well, everything that I've learned over my career has been by watching other people, pretty much. You know, I remember going to India and bowling reverse swing and hid the ball from our batters, so they didn't know which way it was going to swing, because some batters are good enough to be able to see the rough side and the shiny side, so it makes sense to try and hide it for as late as possible and then bowl it. So I learned that from him.
But even that's more difficult than you're making it sound. To actually run in with your hand in front of the ball is actually a complete retraining exercise.
Yeah, it is, but then like I saw him do that and then tried to develop it to make it feel comfortable to me, and it did take a little bit of time, but I'd just work and work and work at it until it felt comfortable and good. And I do think that some things that I'm quite a visual person, so if I see something, I'm quite good at being able to just do it.
Right. And copy it.
Yeah. So it's the same with anything, like a golf swing or something. I feel like I could copy it, or someone's bowling action. I feel like I could mimic them if I watched it enough. So I've had that fortune throughout my career to be able to do that. But yeah, again, the wobble seam was before we went to Australia in 10-11. Chatting to David Saker, our bowling coach at the time, felt like we needed something that wasn't swing related, because we knew the Kookaburra didn't swing for that long. So developed this ball, which
that's totally unconventional. I mean, going back, you would never think of trying to deliberately not land the ball perfectly on the seam. It was all about landing the ball on the seam. You had a ball that was half red and half white, and you could see it going down. I mean, it's totally new stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, some people are blessed that they can't swing the ball and they just bowl wobble seam all the time, and that works for them. And yeah, you're always coached to bowl with the perfect seam, and now we're coaching people to bowl with a scrambled seam. So it is fascinating how it works. But I've just I've studied so much of the game, so many bowlers and what they do and how they release the ball. So I feel like I know if I can either bowl a gun barrel straight seam or tilt it slightly to the slips to get it to move away. If it swings too much, I straighten up again. And I just have so much fun doing that and messing around with it. And I think that's what I would love other people to, kids taking up the game. That's what I find it so much fun just messing around with different skills. And some might work for you, some might not.
So in the net by yourself, ball after ball after ball, just trying things.
Yeah. But I remember when I was a kid at home, I'd have a cricket ball watching TV and just be tossing it up in my hand just to play around with how it felt, how the seam felt. Just constantly tinkering with something. So that's something I'll probably miss is having time to mess around with all these things to try and then take them into a game. And there's no better feeling than when you've worked so hard on something and seeing that come to fruition in a test match and getting someone out with it.
How long did it take you to work out what sort of bowler you were going to be? And that's a question that I've put to a lot of fast bowlers, because you were a generally quick bowler. When you going back in the day, you ran in, you bowled fast.
Yeah.
And it seems that quite a lot of actually bowlers suddenly realise, hang on, perhaps that's not quite for me. But injuries might come into it for a start. But when did you think, actually, do you know, this is what I'm going to be, and that's the course I'm going to follow now?
I think I reckon I was probably around 90 miles an hour when I started, which in county cricket gave me some success. I got 50 wickets in my first season. Didn't really swing the ball much in any of those games. Maybe got some reverse at Old Trafford when it was dry. But then I think when I went back to my old action, so the reason for changing my action in the first place was trying to get another 3 or 4 miles an hour out of it, which I didn't find that extra pace and lost the ability to swing the ball as well. So it was kind of a double-edged sword, that. So then when I went back to my old action, I really worked hard on the skill part of it. So I worked hard at the in-swinger, which took me probably 3 years to feel comfortable to bowl in a game.
You didn't bowl in-swinger for 3 years?
Oh, I did, but it generally went for 4 byes, so Matt Pryor banned me from bowling it for a bit. But yeah, I think I still wanted to be quick enough. So I think, I'm lucky that with the action that I've got, I can still bowl at between 82 and 85 miles an hour, which is, if you're moving the ball through the air, that's more than quick enough. You ask many batters throughout the world, would they rather face a 90 mile an hour bowler who bowls gun barrel straight, or an 85 mile an hour bowler who moves it through the air? And it's a no-brainer for them.
Yeah.
So that's what I tried to develop. And also I think with all the different places we go and play cricket, you've got to have different skills to be successful in those places. And I learned that the hard way. I didn't have any success in Australia early on. India was a tough place to go to. So developing reverse swing, little off cutters, leg cutters and things like that, just to almost plan C, D, E, just fall back. You can fall back on them if things aren't going well.
Yeah. So what will seem to be your legacy in a way? And has it transformed bowling?
I don't know. I think people kind of. I don't know if it was a thing before then, but I like to see people, swing the ball. I'd love that to be my legacy. I want, people being more than a one-dimensional bowler.
Yeah.
Having more dimensions to you.
Which year was it at Trent Bridge against Pakistan? We swung the ball all over the place. That was
2010, I think.
I mean, that was just. There's an old swing bowler.
Yeah.
Sit there and purr and watch that.
Yeah, but I think. Some bowlers will say, I can't do this, I can't do that. So they just become this one-dimensional bowler where I've never thought that I can't do that. I just work at it till I can do it. So if the captain needs a swing bowler, he comes to me. If the captain needs a seam bowler, that's me as well.
Yeah. Always relevant. Always in the game.
Exactly, always in the game. If it's reverse swinging, then I want to be the first guy that he calls upon. And obviously, there are certain things I can't do. If he wants bouncers, then that's probably someone else's job. But I want to give the captain as many options as I can to help us win a test match. And as I've said, it's been incredibly fun doing all that.
How about the captains down the years, Jimmy? Again, it's interesting watching on some captains, fiddlers, the field's changing every ball, you don't know what's going on until the end of your mark. Do you relate to that, or do you just like to just get in? Do you prefer the captain who just tosses you the ball and say, "Come on, you just bowl, show us your skills, plans"?
I think the bowler should be the best person to set their field. They should know what their plan is, and obviously, in agreement with the captain, you go and work towards that plan. How you're going to take wickets on a certain day on a certain wicket. But obviously, Ben Stokes, I think, is great at it, being able to say to the bowler, you just keep bowling exactly what you're doing, and I'm just going to tinker with the field just to try and get in the batter's head, or just to make something happen, basically, which, again, is something that I've not experienced throughout any of the other captaincies that I've played under. But I find that quite fun to do, fun to be a part of. But yeah, I've always felt like the bowler should be the thinker, and work things out themselves, work a batter out themselves, and then set their field accordingly.
That's the thing about Fico, Jimmy.
Some are. Some as well. But I mean, I don't think you can be successful in cricket without thinking about the game, without having a good understanding of it, understanding how, certainly as a bowler, how do you take the majority of your wickets, and I think that's really important.
What mementos have you got at home? How many balls have you got? How many bits and pieces? Are you a collector or not?
Yeah, I've got
special moments.
I've got probably all of my Fifer balls from both Lancashire and England and one-day cricket.
Wow.
And pink ball test as well.
Yes, of course. Don't forget
that one in there.
You got that one?
I still got that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not a big sort of collector of things. I won't have stumps on my staircase like Alistair Cook. But it's nice to, I have in the last couple of months even just looking at old caps and old photos even of test victories in India, in Australia and things like that. People I've played with, and remembering back to good times it's been really special.
Welcome to old age. Can you pinpoint one? Can you pinpoint something out of this immense career? Just something, a moment, bowling, I guess, probably, that you just think that was really special. It's hard to say one out of so many games, but I feel like I got 10 for at Trent Bridge in 2013, and that's probably the most complete performance that I've put in it. I've played in an England shirt. Why was that?
Just everything felt good from ball one. I just felt like I could get every single one of their players out. There's always one or two players that maybe you think, I'm not getting him out today.
Yeah.
But that day I felt like I was invincible, and I bowled a 13-over spell in the second innings as well, and then took the last wicket to win the game, which I think is just the whole game from a very selfish individual point of view was the perfect game. But as a professional, your job is to affect games, to win games. That's what you set out to do every game you play. You know that it's not going to happen every game, but when it does, I think you've got to treasure it and feel proud.
Yeah. Quick one about the future, Jimmy. What is the future? You're going to be helping. I look at one or two erstwhile quick bowlers, and they might have put a bit of a pound on here or there. I mean, are we going to see Jimmy into a larger suit next year, or are you going to keep yourself fit? Are you going to be bowling? Are you going to be?
Well, yeah. I'm staying with the team for the summer as a consultant, mentor. I don't know what you want to call it, but I'll be helping the bowling group, trying to pass on, information or experiences whatever I can.
And can you do that? I mean, a lot of coaches, actually, I think it's a fair comment that actually often the most talented players are actually perhaps not the best coaches, because what they do is just natural. But I guess what we've just been hearing from you, you've worked at it. You've got there by hard work, so you can demonstrate that. Yeah, but I think my job over the last 10 years, probably since I turned 30, has been sort of leader of the attack, or if I'm not playing, I'm around to try and help other people. And I understand that every bowler is different, and what my job, I assume, will be is to be there if they need a sounding board. I will help if I think I can offer something that's going to help on the field, tactically, field positions, lengths to bowl. As I've said before, I study the game. I will be watching. I'll be watching all the guys in the nets to try and help them, see if I can, or make sure I understand how they bowl, their actions. And I will definitely not be someone who will force things on them. No. I'll be there if they need me, and I'll help in any possible way I can to help them be successful. Is that a long-term thing? Can you see yourself doing that, or? Well, I don't know. It depends how much I enjoy this summer. But I think both parties are sort of will be feeling the way a little bit this summer. So I'll be doing it to the end of the summer, and then I think we'll discuss it the longer term after that. Right. Well, good luck. I mean, it's going to be. You don't seem a very emotional fellow to me, Jimmy, but you'll have a lot when you're walking out there, be guards of honour and all that sort of business going on. You braced for that? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect. Like I said, I think I've just shut myself off from the thought of it completely, and I'm just completely 100% throwing myself into focusing on the game and my performance, trying to help the team win, and that's what I'll do. And I'm sure at some point there'll be emotion there. Yeah. But I think I don't want it to come too early, so I'm trying to block it out as much as possible. Don't want to be at the end of my mark, bawling my eyes out. No, we don't want to see that. No one wants to see that.
Well, I must admit, I really enjoyed that. Sitting down, having half an hour talking bowling with one of the greatest that there's ever been. It's fantastic. And really opening up too, and talking about how he developed his skills and why he developed his skills. And it's really, really interesting. As someone who never had a plan B, to talk to somebody who perfected B, C, D, E and F is quite something.